All right, we are now live. Welcome everybody to another live stream, another episode of Ask a Pagan. Corey, you need to turn something on. Wow.
I had to turn off the YouTube side of it. That was gunking everything up.
Yeah. All right. So we're all good now.
All
right. I'm gonna go ahead and post the. Oh, it's still going. It's still going. Myself.
So the only thing is, since if I have the YouTube sound on, I will have double noise playing. I think it'll be hard for me to read anything. I got an idea. Maybe I can just pause the video.
I'm checking to see if there's a way I can fix your audio.
As long as the video pauses, it'll be fine.
Maybe that one. All right, that don't seem to have helped. Maybe not. Oh, dang. We called that one. I do apologize about that. Apparently, my daughters have decided that they wanted to cry because they didn't have the live stream. All right. So, as far as I'm aware, there is nobody currently watching the live stream.
Yeah, I see there's one, and that should be me.
No, that's not.
I've got it open, so should just be. Pretty sure it's just me because I have it open. If it would count you.
No, there's two people now.
Hello.
All right. There's something going on with this. I know it's not my fault. All right, so I don't know why it's echoing so much.
It's the one person.
Oh. All right. But we're going to go ahead and just deal with it as it is. That's really horrible. I don't know if I can do it.
You are really hard to hear right now.
Yeah, I know. Hold on a second.
There you go. That was better. Oh, you're coming back in. Okay.
Let's see if maybe this
works better. Sound better right now?
Yeah, but I'm still hearing myself
coming through. Alright, as long as I can at least hear you not live with that.
I don't know if people are going to want to watch it because this is really bad. Like, it's really bad echoing. Oh, damn. Well, this might be a failed live stream.
This thing did say, the StreamYard did say I should try and use headphones if I'm hearing a lot of echo. So let's try that.
Put your headphones in.
One more done.
All right. Let's see. So far, so good. But I cannot hear you.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can barely hear you, man.
Goats. Loki. Elderfeld.
I can barely hear you.
So, one problem solved, one made.
God damn. I can't change the volume. You. All right. Well, we'll just go ahead and get started.
Hello.
Well, welcome, everyone, to another Ask a Pagan live stream. I am Hugh, and today our special guest is Mooney Boy Corey. Say hello, everyone.
Hello.
All right. So tonight we don't really have much of a plan on what we are going to talk about other than, our adventures trying to find Shrek.
Swamp.
Yeah, the Swamp Demon. So found what appeared to be the face of a demon made out of foliage on Google Maps, and we thought it would be a bright idea to go and try and find this Swamp Demon out in the middle of the swamp. Needless to say, things did not work in our favor. It was
Not as planned.
yeah, no, not at all. But that's par for the course for me. It seems like every time I plan to do something like that, some monkey wrenches get thrown in the works and it all goes to hell.
Part of being a Loki worshiper.
That is true. It is definitely part about being a worshiper of Loki. The chaos and turmoil is a part of everyday life. But it would definitely be more awesome if it didn't leave us stranded in the middle of a swamp. Yeah. Or if I didn't drop my backpack into said swamp and almost ruin the brand new camera I just got recently. That would have been horrible.
I mean, the only good news is it was you almost ruined it, not did.
Correct. It was an almost and not an actual, for a fact, ruined. Thankfully, I wasn't.
I think the only thing you lost was something protecting the mic, I believe.
Yeah, that was your fault when you fell into the swamp. Yeah, when you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I only dropped one tiny thing. You dropped your entire pack.
That wasn't when we were walking on the walkway.
When we're getting to it.
The mic disappeared while we were walking across the little cypress knees, trying to find our way
to the walk.
To the walkway. Yeah. So for a little bit of context, the walkway that we are talking about is actually like this little 6-inch wide plank of wood that kind of snaked its way through the swamp for about 200, maybe 300 yards, and it just kind of started abruptly in the middle of the swamp. It kind of ended abruptly in the middle of the swamp at a depth gauge. I don't know why it was there, but
It was very disappointing.
It was disappointing, and there really was no fucking reason for why that walkway was there. Like, honestly, like, I have no idea why it was there. It's just, how the fuck were you even supposed to get to it or even know that it was there? We only stumbled upon it by random chance. Although, now that I think about it, it's not necessarily random chance, because every time we did try to get into those woods and into that swamp, we got pushed back until we wound up in that area. So maybe we were intended to find it.
Couldn't say.
All right. So normally this is supposed to be a sort of ask me anything sort of affair, but as there is currently not anybody in the live stream chatting and no questions being asked, I don't really see how we're going to have much of a Ask a Pagan live stream with this. I may have made a mistake by not putting the announcement out sooner that we were doing this and reminding people. Then again, I've also only been doing it every 2 weeks, which probably is an easy way for people to forget that it happens. Which makes me wonder if I should do this every week in the hopes that it would get more people to realize that I do it every week.
It's up to you, man. I'll hop on once in a while, but how you want to run it? It's up to you in the end.
Well, it is my my little show here, I guess. So it is run how I want.
Words. I just work here.
Well, since there's nobody else asking questions, I'm going to go ahead and just run this as an interview with you, and I'm going to ask you a few questions, Corey, that you can go ahead and explain to the audience of all of 2 people right now. So,
Sure.
Corey, how did you get your start with paganism?
So I had been, I guess maybe I should just give you a little more context on my life in general. I've always been a fan of nature and of history and reading, all that jazz. I used to be a Mormon. Then I kind of had a falling out with that. And I was an atheist for a couple of years until November 23rd. I remember this because I specifically looked up like my YouTube search history to see when I did this. And I saw a video from Wisdom of Odin, and dang, I had like a whole script up on this, but it's on my old phone. Oh well, let's go off my head. All right. Trying to see if I could find my script. Too bad. I saw a video from Wisdom of Odin. I believe it was 5 things I wish about Asatru or Pagan, something along those lines. Basically, a 5-tip video for newbies. And after that, I looked like back in the search history for the next couple of days. I binged the ever-loving crap out of his channel for the next week. Then before long, I need to get this off of just something I watch videos on of just in an interest. And hey, try this out. I've got feel something drawing me towards this. So I went out and did an offering to a Landvatir that I believe I had a real experience with prior back actually when I was Mormon. Yeah, Split Oak. I'll take you to that area, rough area, on Sunday. Basically, it's a state forest near the Orlando airport. Great forest. The only is every 15-20 minutes there's a plane flying over your head. One time years ago, I was hiking out there. I went off trail because I'm an idiot and I like to hike off trail quite often. And it was something like July, hot as balls. For Florida, I'm running low on water. And I just see a random butterfly. I believe it was a black and yellow swallow, if I remember correctly.
All right.
Started following it.
Pop in and say hello in the chat. Hello, Calvin. Welcome to the chat. Thanks for joining us here tonight. Sorry to interrupt you, Corey.
Well,
But yeah, go ahead and
hello,
continue on about your butterfly, your pretty butterfly that you followed through the woods.
hey, don't make fun of my land of tears experience.
Doesn't mean it wasn't a pretty butterfly.
Fair enough, but it just sounds like it's all right, whatever. But I just started following it because I had nothing better to do. I am completely lost. I'm starting to run low on water, and it's really hot in Central Florida. Heat injury is the most likely way you're going to go down out in the woods, realistically, unless you, like, I don't know, get bit by a snake.
Yeah, that is very true. It's definitely a good idea to carry extra water with you down here.
So I'm just following this thing for maybe 2-3 hours potentially, and I got eventually back onto a trail that I recognized. This whole time I'm just watching the butterfly like some idiot, apt, I suppose. And once I hit a trail that I recognized, I said it aloud, and the butterfly flew off, and I've never seen it since, or any swallowtail that looks quite like it, for that matter.
Definitely, in my opinion, that would be a sign from a friendly spirit that was trying to help you out.
Yeah.
Hello, welcome to the live stream. Thanks for popping in. All right. So, for those of you who are just joining us, this is, as always, a Ask Me Anything sort of live stream where you can ask our special guest, Corey, here, or myself, pretty much any question that you want. As of right now, I am just asking Corey questions. So, Corey, my next question to you is going to be, what is your plan for this faith?
Ooh, you assume I make plans. Right now, the only current big plan I have is I recently took up boxing after a recent sign from Thor, and I'm going to be pushing through boxing for that. Suppose it'd be a great time to go ahead and mention that sign while I'm at it. I was at work stocking. I'm in a storage room completely alone for over an hour. I'd heard a small noise that spooked me. Maybe 20 minutes later, I notice an acorn just lying in the middle of the floor towards the door at a spot that I should have seen at least because of its location near the front door, and all of my trash for them generating will stop right by there. It's like, wait a minute. How the hell did that get there? Go ahead and pick the acorn up. I, being a bit of a klutz, drop it. It makes the exact same noise that random noise that had spooked me before had made. I think that's a sign from Thor, because acorns, oaks, Thor. A lot of historically of pagan communities wouldn't even necessarily have an idol. They would have an oak tree dedicated to him, which I personally think is great to have a living idol, if you will, which I am probably going to make. I know, like all of that's awesome, a living idol. But so now, because I found an acorn at work, my calves might be sore for 2 days. Worst way to describe it.
It was either a sign from Thor, or your work is infested with ceiling squirrels.
There were no holes in the ceiling, and I've never seen any signs of squirrels there. Just that acorn. So
any vents?
Not near that spot. And there's no oaks immediately near the building anyway. The only ones that are small enough they're not producing any acorns. I visually checked the closest oaks. They're all these tiny little baby ones.
Squirrels are a thing, all right? After the hurricanes in 2004 destroyed my family's house, we were tearing it down, and I started tearing down the ceiling in our living room, and just what came out of that ceiling could only be described as the largest squirrel's nest I had ever imagined. I mean, like, it literally filled the ceiling from one end of the house, like, to the other. It was just acorns and acorns and acorns and acorns that had been in there for decades. God knows how long. And Yeah, even a few dead squirrels, but we won't get into that. But yeah, apparently
Hurricanes,
squirrels
don't you
like
love them?
to make their way into people's ceilings and attics and make themselves a home. Possums
I
too.
mean, I won't say. I haven't any possums in my house, only in my yard. Um,
I get
unless
this
you got a
possum
story for that.
once in a while that likes to sit on the fence outside, and every time I see him, I'll sit there and I'll stare at him, and he'll just like stare right back at me, and he won't move for like a good solid like 30 seconds or a minute, and then he'll just turn away and just start walking away.
Probably wondering if you're gonna charge at him or not.
Probably trying to decide whether or not he was supposed to play dead.
I've got one that's always in my yard. When if I drive home late at night, anything after 9 p.m. or later, if I drive home, that thing will be in my front yard. And as soon as it sees my vehicle come in, it just starts running.
I remember growing up, I used to always have raccoons coming up to the house, and like we used to put food out for these stray cats that kind of adopted us, and so these raccoons would come up and they'd try to steal the cat food, and like it's ridiculous how clever raccoons are because they can actually like open up jars, they can open up cat doors and open up windows and stuff. Yeah, they have opposable thumbs.
That's what it is.
Yep. Welcome, Blake. Nice to see you. But yeah, those opposable thumbs are the whole reason that they're able to do all those amazing things. But they are smart. They are ridiculously smart for what you wouldn't expect a creature that eats garbage to be as intelligent as it is.
Oh yeah. This is going to incredibly stereotypical, and I own it. When I was living in the trailer park, my next door neighbor had a pet. They adult creatures, one pets, and very intelligent, and they play rough.
I would love to have a raccoon for a pet. I think that would be awesome.
Like I said, they play very rough. When they're playing with, I draw blood. Not trying. It's just as you ever where you grab the dog and they've got that loose skin.
Mm-hmm.
Raccoons have a lot of that type of skin.
Yeah.
Basically makes them really hard to, for something to bite.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess let me look in the chat. Live struck. Calvin, I am actually more of a Sawyer type myself. I really like her. If I have it in my vehicle right now, I would show you. I actually have a Sawyer Gravity in the gun in my camping bag right now. Well, not my camping. I kind of have a small backpack I bring whenever I go on a day hike, and it has a Sawyer Gravity. It's pretty. I like it. Could go down the time if I wanted. I probably will day hike. It's mostly just in case I get stranded. Being an idiot, going off, which might happen. Who knows?
The only connection between acorns and Thor that I'm aware of, Michelle, is the connection between a acorn basically being the seed of the oak. I don't know much else beyond that. I wish I did, because I wish I could give you a better answer. Now, as for a connection to Ratatoskr, I would not be surprised if there is a connection there, simply for the fact that, well, squirrels love acorns, and Ratatoskr
That's the squirrel that's on Yggdrasil, right?
The absolute epitome of a caffeine addicted squirrel that loves to start shit. That squirrel does not know how to keep a secret, and nor does he know how to keep his mouth shut when it comes to drama. He loves to start shit, like I said. The sagas and Eddas talk about Ratatoskr running up and down Yggdrasil and basically talking shit about the gods to the other gods and the other spirits, and passing messages from one world to another. And like, so like he'd go from like Asgard to like Jotunheim and talk shit about the Aesir in Jotunheim, and then go to Asgard and talk shit about the Jotuns in Asgard. He was basically that kid in high school that
An internet troll.
was always running around like starting rumors and trolling people. Ratatoskr is a total, absolute internet troll.
He's a Viking era 4chaner. Yep.
Oh, that is actually a great description, and I wish I had come up with that myself.
Trademark.
All right. Any other questions, guys? No, but no. Anybody else got any questions? Okay, so Corey, I have another question for you.
I may have an answer. Probably 42.
Since you are no longer a Mormon, does that mean that you are now sad that you cannot one day replace the angry cloud and have your own planet?
No, I've gone more for the idea of just focusing on this life.
But then you're missing out on becoming an angry cloud and having a whole entire planet of people to rule over.
This is true. But there's a few problems with getting.
For those of you who aren't in the know, so part of the Mormon belief is that God
How about I
lives.
describe that one?
Yeah, actually,
How about I describe that one actually? Because I know that a little better. I gave you one quick description in game. I actually believed this stuff at one point, so I think I know it a wee bit better. So
I actually looked into it a little bit after that to try and find out.
Okay, because you're like, there's no way he's true. He's being honest about this. All right. So Mormon beliefs or Latter-day Saints, as being the proper term, but I'm going to say Mormon for sure, because even though I believe in it myself Mormon, because that's what everyone knows the word as, and so it's just easier. They believe in a lot of things that most of the Christians would find absurd or sacrilegious, potentially. One of them being the idea that God was once a man and that man can become like God. How you get there is basically you have to get sealed, married in a Mormon temple, and live a super duper righteous life. And potentially, if God's happy with you, you would become the god of your own planet after Armageddon. That, and the next go around, you could have your own if you are high enough to get into the celestial top kingdom. Basically, crop.
And to explain to people, we are not actually making fun of this belief of Mormonism. The joke is actually about the whole misinterpretation of the belief from the brief explanation that he gave to us in a D&D game.
Yes.
So Mormons do not actually believe that their God is a cloud or lives on a cloud.
No, he's an exalted man.
No.
But
we just we make the joke because when he first tried to explain it to us, it did actually make it sound like he was trying to say that the Mormon God was a angry cloud.
Okay. You guys purposely misunderstood me, and you know it.
Just a little bit. I mean, like
a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. This all extension of D&D, like you said, or the Ravens here. Where we play. I'm the DM, and it's in post-apocalyptic America. And I will promise you right now, if any modern religion was going to survive the end of the world, it'd be the Mormons. So I had to bring them in.
Probably. Mormons would definitely be ones to survive the apocalypse because they have the uncanny ability to just keep popping up everywhere. So.
Yeah, when you have a lot of missionaries and a lot of babies, yeah, you can survive.
Yeah. Isn't it that they don't believe in birth control?
I don't know about doctrinally, but on a practical level, there's no way they do. I remember being joked in one ward I was in that you're not a real Mormon until you have at least 4 kids.
Wow.
Mind you, 4 is the entry level. Okay, that's here. That's you got in the club. You want to be here. You know Bogan Munns and Munns, the attorney firm.
Mm-hmm.
Munns, one of the big partners for it. He actually was a bishop at one point, but he has 13 children.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot of kids. That reminds me a lot about what my wife makes jokes about. She tells me that I'm going to end up with 12 kids, and they're all going to be girls.
All going to be girls. Water names.
Help me now. We ran out of water-based names after the second one, and we had to literally just go with water for the third.
Next one's going to be drizzle, then downpour, creek.
Well, we got river, rain, and waters now, so
creek. You can do that one. Lake.
I tried to go for pond.
You can go pond. Yeah, there you go.
I tried to go for pond because I was going to try with like the name Amelia Pond.
Give more name like water-based names for his futures because he's not having any sons.
Yeah.
Babbling Brook. There you go. His kids are noisy, so yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. Those kids are definitely noisy, and in fact, even though they're supposed to be in bed, I swear I just heard them screaming a moment ago.
I can my end right now, and that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Oh God, I really do not want 12 girls. No, 12 kids. I mean, I think I could handle that. Maybe, but I don't think I could handle it if they were all girls. I'd shoot myself.
Of it all.
I would shoot myself before they all hit puberty. That many girls going through puberty at roughly the same time or back to back would just be horrible.
You'd realistically have 2, 3 at a time through it at one time.
Yeah, but then it would be constant.
It's true. Constant fight of it.
If one's out, another one would be going in.
About.
No. Please don't do that to me. I don't need 12 daughters.
Okay. Don't pray to Freya.
I don't have that place to hide the bodies, people. Okay? And shotgun ammo is not cheap anymore.
You can always give them demon.
Not all girls. Please. One boy. At least one. Just give me one.
Pray to Freya, not to Freya. Yeah. Get you some masculine energy in that bedroom.
Maybe I should just buy a giant like crystal dick and for Freya and slide it under the mattress, and maybe hopefully that will put some positive male energy into the bedroom so that I could actually have a son. I don't know. Maybe.
One can dream.
But at this time, I do not need any more kids. No.
Don't you know? Children are like beers. You don't know your limit until you've had one too many.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see how that would work. Yeah. But then again, children are like a fine mead. They taste better with age. You can't eat them when they're a baby because
Let's see, was that a cannibalism?
Yes, I did just make a cannibalism joke about my own kids.
Puerto Rico! Hey, come here! You need to hear this part.
Oh, she's watching. She's just totally heard that.
Oh.
Don't worry, she
So I
makes
get
jokes
back
about
ribs,
eating babies too. You know when you see a cute kid, you're like, oh, you look so delicious. Have you
So
never?
your favorite meal is baby back ribs?
Amen. I remember old people pinching my cheeks when I was a kid and telling me they could just eat me up and that I was scrumptious. So I don't think it's that odd to tell my daughter that she looks delicious and that I'm going to eat her.
I mean,
And then you
some
just give her a
species
big
do
old
that.
raspberry and she just starts giggling and it's hilarious.
Michelle, for a funny thing for two having a limit on that. My girlfriend's talked about having a limit on number of children, having the future, and I tell her stuff like, "Oh, like what I'm gonna be praying to, the Frey, to your god, Kernanos, she's Wiccan. We're gonna give you triplets. I have three, be one and done. You make sure they make sacrifices to multiple fertility gods. I think how.
Yeah, but knowing your luck, the angry cloud's just going to be like, no, 13 children for you. And they're all going to happen at once.
Oh, well, guess what? I will make sure that at that point, I will have something that they will be able to make me because I don't think I could just financially support 13 children.
Yeah, financially supporting 13 children is no joke. They say it costs like an average of like $1 million to raise a kid to the age of 18.
I don't know numbers, but sure.
That's a lot of money. Yeah, I can't spend $13 million over the next 18 years to raise 13 kids.
You worried about being outnumbered? Do you need Rian Michelle? or would
Yeah, it does sound like Michelle's worried about being outnumbered by the children. At least when you have the same number of parents to children, each parent can grab a kid. But then again, each parent could also grab 2 kids, so you could have 4.
Say, children are usually small, so you can't hold them down with one arm.
Yeah, and then when they get old enough, you can use the older kid to control the smaller kid.
Yes, now you're thinking like a prison guard.
Mm-hmm. So, like, I already know that my oldest, once she's like 12 or 13, whatever the legal age is, she's going to start babysitting her sisters. So, I've only got like 8 more years to go. 7 more years to go. 7, 8 years.
Oh, you sound like a prisoner.
Oh, God. I kind of feel like a prisoner sometimes.
I'm eligible for parole in 2020.
Yeah. I'd rather just go play at Universal with the kids than be stuck at the house, but that's not really an option all the time. So, especially when I'm with kids by myself, can't really take 3 children into a theme park and ride any rides when there's only 1 adult. 3 kids. Doesn't work very well. They tend to frown upon it when you leave a kid sitting outside a ride and be like, hey, wait here, I'm going to be right back.
Yeah. Especially since they're all on the younger side and there's not too many rides they can ride.
Dude, I remember when I was a kid, you used to be able to do stuff like that and it wasn't really as big of a deal. Like, it was still a big deal, but it wasn't really as big of a deal. But now, like, you leave your kid in the car for 2 seconds while you run into the gas station to pay for some gas, and people get all in a huff about you leaving your kid in the car. You really want
Did
me
you
to
not?
take 3 kids out of the car to walk into a gas station for 30 seconds to pay for some gas and then walk back out?
No, I got that.
It would take longer to take the kids out of the car, and then it would have taken to walk in and just pay for the gas and walk back out.
The story for that I read for there a mother who went into a grocery store. She parked front row apparently, and just in and out of the store, and just did a couple while she left her car door unlocked. While she was in the store, some guy stole her car, stole the car, drove off. A minute later, he looks in the back, in there. Oh, he drives back to the grocery store, finds the mother who just walked out of the store, and freak out. Where's my car? Where's my baby? And he takes the kid out of the car seat, drops the kid there, right in front of the mom, berates the mom for being a worse human than he is and being terrible and all that, and he drives off with her car.
Well, Michelle, enjoy it while it lasts, that they are bigger than you, because you already had to spend countless years wiping their butts and cleaning up their poopy diapers. Eventually, it'll be their turn to take care of you, and then you can have your revenge. That's the way I look at it.
Isn't life just from one bottle to the next?
In a way.
With the sippy cup and the beer bottle, and they kind of go back to kind of a sippy cup.
Yeah. All right. So we're getting closer to the hour mark. So there's a couple of things that I want to discuss real quick while we are on this live stream. Okay, so I did change my upload schedule for videos. It is going to be on Wednesdays. I know I made an announcement not that long ago about it, and I did mean to post a video yesterday, but I never got around to it, so I will be posting that one tomorrow, which I know it's Friday, and my posting day is supposed to be Wednesday. But ignore it for this week. It'll be on Wednesday next week as well, and every Wednesday going forward. I also am considering changing the date that we do this live stream to another day. So if anybody has any suggestions on what day they would prefer to see this live stream on, go ahead and just leave a comment down there. Let me know.
Just not Friday.
Just not Friday. Any night by Friday. I play D&D on Fridays. I enjoy my D&D games. I'm not giving up my D&D to give a live stream for you guys. Sorry.
I hope you shenanigans you put me through.
Well, Borden, if you may not have been able to chat through your TV, but you could have picked up your phone and chatted through it. Aha! I can't do the chat and live stream on Friday, Borden. I would love to, but I'm already playing D&D on Fridays, and like I said, I'm not giving up my D&D games. I don't love you guys that much. My love for you all does have a limit, and that limit is when it comes to playing D&D.
It's less than the love for mine shenanigans.
Yes, those shenanigans of Loki and his followers happen every Friday at 6:30.
Oh, and speaking of which, what the hell is up with the livers, man?
Loki likes livers.
Is there any actual historical connection to that?
Somewhat, but it's a bit of a syncretism. It's basically equating Loki to Prometheus.
Okay.
So if you're familiar with Loki's final punishment, he was basically tied to a rock with the entrails of his sons, where he
Mhm.
then had a poisonous snake hung above him that would drip poison onto his head for all eternity. Anyways,
And his wife has the bowl.
yeah. He got punished for doing some bad things to the gods. I don't think he was doing bad things to the gods. I think he was doing things that he was supposed to be doing. But that's a discussion for a whole nother time. Anyways, what I was getting at is Prometheus in the Greek stories, and I'm not as familiar with these stories as I used to be, but Prometheus was if I remember correctly, a Titan, and he stole fire from the gods and gave it to man, and his punishment for doing so was to be chained to a rock for all eternity, and a eagle would swoop in and peck out his liver every day, and every night his liver would grow back, and the next day the eagle would return and eat his liver again.
Okay. So I'm starting here.
So essentially, the liver in the game, in the D&D game, is a joke. It is replacing the liver that Loki lost.
Prometheus loses.
Yeah. It's just a joke.
Okay.
There's really not much at all as far as historical evidence that ties Loki to Prometheus, and I don't even really tie them together in my own belief. It is, like I said, it's really just a joke because of the coincidences and similarities between their punishments. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was just something that has always puzzled me.
I was actually wondering when you would get around to asking me about the livers.
I have several times. You just don't answer.
Bring up the livers in pretty much every game, hoping that somebody would finally ask me what the fuck the deal was with the livers.
I asked you every single time you.
Yes, but you haven't asked in the correct way.
I asked what the hell this time. The only thing they really changed.
No. The way you were supposed to ask was by asking me in character as either the Angry Cloud or a Feldman. Yes. You could have asked me that way if you had actually like role played it and asked me that way. I would have given you.
Oh, got it. You're gonna make the DM role play, okay?
Absolutely, I am absolutely gonna make the DM role play. You are playing a character. You need to play that character. Role play. It's part of the game. That's why we love it. This is why I'm a goat. And this is why we have cheese. And why we have boom. Yes.
And Fang now.
Oh, yes. And Fang. So, getting off topic again. But we are going to be starting up a podcast. Yay, podcast. So the podcast will not necessarily always have to do with paganism. Sometimes it'll just have to do with mythology in general. Sometimes it'll have to do with folklore, traditions of both past and present. I have all sorts of different various topics that we're going to be discussing. Anyways, the podcast is going to be crewed by the D&D people. Yes. The Brothers Grimm fairy tales are definitely going to be one of the topics that we are going to be discussing, and that is one that I plan to make an entire podcast just about the Brothers Grimm. So that's going to be a great one to look forward to. And for those of you who are not aware, those old fairy tales are way more fucked up than any of you probably realize. Oh my God, they are so bloody, so gory, and so fucked up. Like, did you guys know that Sleeping Beauty was raped multiple times and had multiple children during the time that she was under that enchanted sleep? probably didn't know that, did you? It's not something they include in Disney.
Oh, I wonder.
Ugh. So, all right. So the podcast is going to be run by the D&D crew. That'll be myself, Corey over here, as well as our friends Claire, Cheese, and Cody. We will
Claire,
not be
it's boom. It's boom.
All right, fine. We will not be using our regular names. We will be going by Goat. We will be going by Cheese, Boom, Fang, and Angry Cloud.
Angry Cloud.
All right. Germans. Who was talking about Germans? Did I say anything about Germans?
Oh, the Brothers Grimm, Magic Stories.
Oh, right. Brothers Grimm. Right. I almost forgot that they were German for a second.
Yeah, there's the folk stories of Germanic people, which my opinion for some, not all, some of the fucked up nature of those stories while we're at it is that because of when they were written down post Christianization. So, for instance, this is just thing. It's not a specific story, but it's about a teacher, which we will probably case. Thank you, Matthew. He gets it. A specific creature. Several of the pagan cultures, like the Germanic, Scandinavian, and the English, even one name for it being the Nixie, a water spirit that often appeared as a very attractive that would play a violin, and depending on who told you the story, what happens next is very different. Generally, either A, it will try to murder you. And two ways of how you would prevent it from killing you. You would either throw steel into the water, or you'd make the sign of. Or B, if you did a blood offering of blood, then it would teach you how violin music's full, that it would make trees weep. I think a pagan encounter of the nature would be far more likely to try and give it an offering, and they would get a gift from it, and then a Christian who approached the same creature would assume it to be some kind of demonic being, and so would piss out, and it would naturally over, and that's why it would try to murder it. How well the steel line of the cross work in all reality, I have no idea, man. I just two things that I've read solutions to get murdered by the Nixie.
Mm-hmm. Oh, like one of the things that I'm looking forward to discussing on the podcast is actually going to be vampires. Like, oh my god, I cannot wait to talk about vampires. Oh. I'm not talking like the vampires from like the Anne Rice novels, and I am definitely not talking about the fucking sparkly Twilight vampires. Vampires do not sparkle. Fuck that. Fuck those books. No. Okay. No. I'm excited to talk about like the actual historical beliefs of vampires spread all across the world, and like how people throughout history dealt with the issue of vampires. Like, for instance, some of the common things that people used to do to prevent a vampire from getting back up was to drive a metal stake, like an iron stake, straight through the chest and impale them into the ground. And then they would take like a rock and jam the rock into the mouth of the dead person so that they couldn't bite anybody.
Specifically iron, not wooden?
Yes, specifically iron.
So are they connected to Fae?
Yes, in a way. Yes.
Okay.
No.
Because I know that the Fae and iron are a little funky.
Okay, so the Fae is more of a Celtic and Irish terminology that basically can be applied to any supernatural entity or being. So a creature from folklore from, say, one of the Slavic nations, like Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga is a witch, a demonic witch from Slavic folklore. but she could be considered a fae, even though she is not Irish or Celtic, simply for the fact that she is a creature of supernatural origins. So I use fae as a catch-all term for beings of a supernatural origin. Like, for instance, humans are whites, gods are whites, but humans are not fae. The gods would be fae because they are more of a supernatural entity, a supernatural being. So vampires are definitely, in my opinion, fae.
Hans Christian Andersen. Yeah, just how I was thinking about Fae previously. I kind of thought them previously to be relatable to the Landvatir, which I suppose some would be still.
Yeah. For instance, okay, here in Florida we have what is called swamp ape, or a lot of people also call it skunk ape. Essentially, it's Florida's version of Bigfoot, and this giant ape creature stinks so bad that it basically would make you want to hurl. Now, like, the stories go that, like, you can like literally smell skunk ape long before you hear it or you see it, and you may never see it. You may just have the overwhelming stench of sulfur and rotten eggs and skunk, essentially, and then nothing. It would just like disappear just as quickly as it came. Now, granted, like, that could be easily explained by like sulfurous
Water.
gases and methane bubbling up from the swamp. But when you're in the middle of the woods and you're not actually close to a swamp or boggy area, that's not a very high probability. So I do believe in skunk ape. I do believe in swamp ape. I do believe in a lot of cryptids. I do not believe in unicorns, no matter what Kim Jong-un says. Unicorns do not exist. They are based off of stories of woolly rhinos. Anyone who says anything otherwise is kind of ignorant. They need to go back and they need to do their reading. The only reason that
I gotta say,
unicorns the way we do today is because of Vikings selling narwhal tusks as unicorn horns. And, narwhals are the closest thing we're ever going to get to a unicorn again. They are the real unicorns. The unicorns of the sea. Inventors of the shish kebab.
I mean, you got to think, out of all the mythological creatures, a horse with a horn on its head does not sound that far-fetched.
No, it does not, because just look at deer and moose and caribou and deer. They all have antlers.
Yeah,
right?
Imagine if it didn't have two. Imagine if it didn't have two. Imagine if it just had one.
You got bison and buffalo, and the cows, and they've got horns, and then you've got rhinos that have horns as well. It's not that far out of the world of possibility that it could happen. I mean, maybe, possibly, at some point there might have been a horse that was born with some sort of genetic mutation that gave it a horn. I don't know, but as far as I'm aware, the stories of unicorns trace back to the stories of the woolly rhinos that just morphed and changed over time. So your white, soft, fluffy unicorn horse is not the correct image. The correct image is actually a giant, like 3-ton
rhino,
very brown rhinoceros with a 3-meter long fucking horn sticking out of its face.
3 meters? Yeah. Are they really that long? That's what, 9 foot? 9 foot?
I don't remember, but it was something ridiculous. Like, actually, I can look this up. Let's see. woolly rhino horn.
Let's see what you're doing now. Look in the chat. Sorry, whenever I want to look into the chat, I have to go to it for anybody who I just very rarely read it. I have to go out of my way. Wasn't there a Danish story? Hans Christian Andersen. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, some of his stuff is still well known today. I know that Frozen was inspired by him.
All right. So the
Blank,
whole
blank,
rhinoceros was 3 to 4 meters from head to tail. So it wasn't the horn; it was the whole length that was
Okay.
3 meters. So I was kind of right.
In the right
No,
path.
I was wrong on how much they weighed. They was not 3,000 pounds. They weighed anywhere from 4,000 to 6,000 pounds.
You said about 3 tons, so you're right. You said 3 tons, not 3,000.
3 tons is what, 1,600 pounds?
No, 6. That you go back to school, man. 1 ton is 2,000 pounds.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. 1 ton is 2,000 pounds.
Have I really been out of school for that long? Oh shit, you're right.
Yeah. It has white thing. I assume that's Alabama Sasquatch.
Okay, I don't use math very often anymore. I'm not like that. I don't have to convert pounds to tons in my day-to-day life.
I could.
Apparently, a metric ton is 2,200 pounds.
I don't know metric tons. I can't say, but I just know for a regular ton.
I just double checked on that.
Dinosaurs were really. I could believe that a lot of cultures happen to dig up. I don't know, for digging anything.
The idea of dragons, from my understanding, and I did a lot of research into this because I used to want to be a paleontologist when I was younger. So the myths about dragons actually came around as ways of people being able to explain the fossils and bones that they were finding of like
because it's huge.
So they would be finding like these giant skulls, giant bones, giant teeth, and they would have no idea what creatures they were coming up from. So they just came up with these ideas that they had to have been the bones of dragons. And it just became sort of a universal concept that these were giant lizards, essentially giant flying lizards. And funny enough, it just turned out that actually was what they were. They were, in a sense, giant lizards. Although we actually know now that they weren't giant lizards, they were birds.
Stepping stone.
Yeah, they were bird lizards.
Yeah,
lizard birds.
I don't say, but yeah, they're a stepping stone. A lot of them did have things like feathers.
Dude, have you ever seen a picture of a T-Rex? Like what we actually understand them to look like now? They're covered
in feathers,
from
right?
snout, tail, in feathers. The whole thing. They've got little tiny chicken wings. Little tiny chicken wings. Sorry, I couldn't help it. But yeah, they instead of having little tiny arms, they're little tiny wings with claws on the ends. Little tiny wings.
And then now they're just chickens. Are chickens.
So if I remember the article I was reading correctly, it was actually being proposed that the T-Rex wings were not meant for anything other than stability than when running.
I mean, that's a big platform. You got to think. I don't know how much they'd weigh, but several tons. So yeah, running has to be an act of dexterity for anything that.
I have definitely heard before, Michelle, about dragonflies being messengers between the realms, between the supernatural and the natural. Now, from what I have found on that, it's not necessarily specifically that it is dragonflies, but dragonflies are more commonly mentioned as being messengers between gods and other supernatural beings and people, as well as like butterflies. It is not as common to hear about other insects and small creatures being referred to as messengers like that. Yeah,
I'd never heard of that, to be honest.
a giant bird lizard basically is a dragon. Yeah, I know I just backstepped a little bit going back to the giant bird lizards, but man, come on, who doesn't like talking about bird lizards?
Defying a real animal. I remember hearing about that. They had to for the National Geographic special. They had to tell people apologize that it wasn't real because some people were dumb enough to think it was.
I thought it was an awesome documentary. Like it was great. And if you were watching it and you didn't know that it was a what if scenario, you would actually think that they were like saying that these dragons were real. But and it's getting onto a whole nother story. But what does tie into that though is Cyclops. Okay, so everybody knows how like the Cyclops is seen as a giant being with one big old eye in the center of their forehead. The idea of the Cyclops actually came from people finding the skulls of elephants. The skull of an elephant has a big old hole right in the center of it that kind of looks like an eye socket, but it's actually the hole for their trunk.
Oh, I can see that. I can see that right now. Okay.
Yeah. So an elephant skull does kind of look a bit like a one-eyed humanoid skull. So.
Yeah, actually, when I started Googling right now, elephants, Cyclops came up as a suggestion to finish that phrase.
Yeah, so I'm not bullshitting you, man. Like,
No,
Cyclops really was just the way that people explained away elephant skulls way back when. Someone stumbled upon an elephant skull and was like, "This had to be a giant one-eyed monster, man. We better get out of here." And then they just spread the story about the giant one-eyed monsters that they barely escaped from. And so now we have Cyclopses. All right, folks, so we have reached over an hour. These live streams are generally about an hour long. So we've touched on a little bit of news. We discussed a little bit in about what we would talk about on the podcast. We have discussed a little bit about Corey's past, little Mooney boy there. And, well, if anybody has any last-minute comments or questions that they would like to ask, now is the time to go ahead and shoot them out. We're going to give you just a few more moments to shoot out those questions before we start wrapping this up.
Okay, they were drunk a lot of the time because the alcohol was very common. We were alcohol than we drink, but
it was weaker alcohol.
But it was constantly drank, so
they probably also built up tolerances by the time they were like 12. Okay, I mean, come on.
You working by the time you're 12 in many cultures.
They wouldn't necessarily be drinking at that young of an age. But ale was definitely more common of a thing to drink because it was safer than drinking the water in a lot of areas. Talking about how it's safer to drink alcohol than to drink water. Wow, how far our world has come.
You have to keep in mind they didn't have germ theory. They largely, at least in the era, I don't know about prior to, but medieval era, largely thought of disease as miasma that airs.
Yeah, or one of the four humors. So if one of your four humors were out of whack, oh, hey, let's just cut this person open and let them bleed for like 2 minutes into a bucket, and then we'll be all healed. Get all the bad blood out of them. And then you'll take this bucket of good blood from a pig, and you'll drink this and replace the bad blood, and you'll be okay. No.
And do cocaine.
No, that's if you're Sigmund Freud.
It was prescription.
It was prescription. He loved giving prescriptions of cocaine. It was his favorite medication to prescribe to people. Look at me. I'm Sigmund Freud. I love cocaine. And I think you want to have sex with your mother. Dude, his whole entire career was fueled by cocaine. His whole entire theories of like psychological development and the way that sex influences our minds and our psyche, it's all the result of cocaine. Straight up the result.
My favorite thought of his about a Freudian slip is where you say one thing and you mean your mother. I mean another thing.
Oh, so you really do mean your mother?
It's a pun. It was a perfect pun. Perfectly executed.
Yes, it would have been if the mic wasn't echoing. So your audio.
Oh well, I can't control that. I just work here, man.
I know. All right. So we've got no last minute comments. But Borden, whenever you and I do meet in person, we are going to get drunk and we're going to go look for some dinosaur bones. All right. We'll see if we can find some dragon bones, and we'll tell people some crazy story about finding a dragon and slaying it in the woods. Nobody will be able to question us and say otherwise.
Wear your shaggy britches. 2, if you're going to look for easy place to look for fossils. I remember when I went on a family trip up to Kentucky, I actually was able to find some by just going into a creek. You went to a bend in the creek, and we'd find little fossils there, no problem.
35-million-year-old coral. I think it's 35 million years old. I don't know how old it is, but it's millions of years old. It's old. It's older than dirt. It's older than dirt's great grandpa. Anyways, so this little piece of coral here, this fossil, I just randomly found in a limestone roadbed that was at a construction site. So when they build new roads, they put down a layer of lime rock, and mixed in with the lime rock is usually always fossils. So I found this one. I've also got,
just because of the sheer amount of materials they're using, you're gonna run out of one eventually.
This is a crazy sand dollar. Like, look how fucking fat this thing is. All right. Anyways, so I just randomly found these in the limestone beds that they were building the roads on top of. And so if you ever see something like that, you just go run up there. You'll find yourself a couple fossils. Might even get lucky. You might find some shark's teeth. In Florida, you
go
can
full pagan.
go to any river and go to pretty much any beach, and you will find shark's teeth. There's a place not far from here called Rock Springs. I used to go there as a kid all the time, and we would find shark's teeth every single time, and we'd get like handfuls of them, handfuls and handfuls.
Haven't been.
Borden, I'm well aware that you are horrible at finding things at the woods. If you didn't go with somebody out into the woods, you would get lost, and then we would have to find you. That is how horrible you are at finding things. I have heard the stories. And I think that whenever I do meet you, Borden, I might have to tie a string to you so you don't wander off too far and get lost.
Just put a bell on them.
Oh, actually, yeah, that's a better idea. I'm going to tie a bell on you. I already given Chad a frilly apron, so why not give you a bell that you can wear around your neck? Should it be a big cowbell? Yeah, big cowbell. That would be awesome.
Well,
All right. So, Dry Creek Bread's a great place to go and look for fossilized shells and corals. Sometimes you might even get lucky and you might find a little troglodyte or a little fish that you can take home as well. But with that, we're going to go ahead and we are going to call it a night because we are at over 1 hour. So I want to thank everybody that has stuck around for the length of this. And I am so sorry to everybody about the horrible audio quality and horribleness that we had at the very beginning. I hope that the audio quality was not too bad for this, and I am using a new third-party software to stream. I'm still learning how to use it, so bear with us on that, guys. Thank you again, like I said, for joining us and sticking around for this whole time. Let me know in the comments down below if you think we should do the live stream weekly or keep it as bi-weekly, and also let me know if you think that we should change it to a different day. I am here to provide content for you guys, so I want to provide it in the best way possible, and if that means changing the live stream to another day, I will do so. Not Friday. Friday's reserved. Don't choose Friday. All right. So with that, I will bid you all a good night. Love you all. Thank you for joining us. And until I see you all, let's go. Oh, I forgot. This one's not touchscreen.